Hey, Faith to Feet family, Dr. Annetta here. So today we're going to have a special conversation. First of all, we're talking about journey into womanhood. So I love all things woman. So today I want you to help me welcome these women who not only have a faith that is in their mouth, but they have a faith that activates their feet. Brianna Halliburton, Kayla Jimerson, and Candace Jimerson. So thank y'all for coming. Hi. That'll be edited. These women are very inspirational. They are very intelligent, and I get to learn from them. So I just want to tell you a little bit about each one of my nieces. So first off, I'm going to start at the top with Miss Brianna. Brianna is a graduating MPH student. So she's getting her master's in public health, which will be next week. Congratulations, Brianna.
Yeah.
Her master's will be she's a graduating senior at Emory University. Some things that Brianna enjoys doing: she enjoys blogging, she enjoys hiking, and she enjoys taking photos. So welcome, Bree.
Thank you.
All right, next I'm going to introduce to you all Kayla Jimerson. So Kayla is a first year medical student at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, and she enjoys creating and designing, and she's a part-time entrepreneur. All right, welcome Kayla. Now, last but certainly not least, this is Candace Jimerson. And so Candace is a second year, almost third year student at University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, where she is pursuing a bachelor's degree in biology. Some things that Candace enjoys is fashion and shopping. I tried to remember that off the top of my head. All right. So I want to jump right in. Again, the name of this episode is going to be Journey into Womanhood. That journey, it has its ups, it has its downs. There are milestones in the journey to womanhood. Sometimes we feel like, once I'm no longer a child and I'm an adult, there are no more milestones that need to be met or, whatever the case may be. But I feel like the conversation today will help enlighten all of us about where you are on your journey and really help me reflect on some places that I may need to go back to and revisit and say, did I really get what I needed at that point in my journey? Or, what else, how else can I grow? So I just want to start off, and any one of you all can really, speak to it or answer it first or talk about it first. But what is the most exciting part about being a woman for you all?
I think the diversity in clothing, if I just had to say something just out there, I would say I feel like men clothes are boring, but also I feel like I think you're just like easily underestimated as a woman. So I think it's fun to kind of like overachieve and be like, yeah, I did that. Yeah. I feel
Mhm.
like because you're so easily like under the radar, it's really exciting to be an overachiever in that way.
You know what? I can relate to that, Kayla. I'm serious. When I was thinking about what I would ask you all, and you saying being underrated, I really, as far as the journey into womanhood, I think about biblical times, and we hear here and there about women, and we get to hear a few names that are mentioned, and you hear like the Esther and the, Mary, but you really don't hear like Peter, James, Paul, and just like the 12, you don't hear. So I really do, that does relate or resonate with me when you say sometimes you feel underestimated, and the opportunities that we have to not be underestimated and how we display that is also important. We want to make sure that you hear us, you see us, but, in a way that is feminine and womanly. So, Candace or Bree, what do y'all think about what do you think is fun or important for you all about being a woman?
I'll say community. I feel like no matter where I go, if it's like at school or some other place, I can always find like a group of women to support me or that I can support. So yeah, I would say community. We always ride for each other, and I really like that about womanhood.
I do too. I like that about womanhood because womanhood it calls you up to a different level. That was good. A community of women on this journey to womanhood is very important. Candice.
I think I like both ideas, the community part and what Kayla said about being underestimated, because I feel like
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunities for, I guess, men to strive and to um, improve on their journey, but there's a slim opportunity for women too. And so when we go into those opportunities that both men and women can strive, I feel like that's what makes women so powerful.
When you say both of us can strive, because I didn't think that God wanted it any other way. I don't think that God wants just men to walk in purpose. I think He wants me to walk in purpose. Because what if Mary didn't want to walk in purpose? We wouldn't even be having Faith to Feet, right? Like I wouldn't have nothing to talk about if Mary didn't walk in purpose. So
Right.
I do think it's important to give women their or for women to know that I do have a lane and I want to stay in that lane that God has given me and be a lane where I'm never going to have to compromise my values, never compromise my vision or my voice. So I don't think that God just gives vision to men because we got eyes. So yeah. All right, that was good, y'all. Y'all are stretching me, making me think, and I love that. I do think that that's what younger women do for you if you give them the space and opportunity and not be intimidated or not be afraid. Maybe it's fear, that we don't have these conversations with younger women, but I'm really enjoying it because I do learn a lot from you all. So I guess my next thing then would be what's the most, and I guess we probably both of you probably have said, or all three of you probably said a little bit, but what's the most challenging part about being a woman?
I would say maybe like personally, I guess being a black woman, like try not to lean too much into the emotional kind of narrative. Like if a situation arises and like there's discomfort or you're not comfortable with something or you're upset, like trying to like stay within the balance of like not too angry, not too upset, not too loud, like kind of like because of societal and cultural kind of I guess stereotype or implications that they may put on you, you may be kind of constrained at times on which ways you want to emotionally react to like different situations. I feel like that's the toughest thing is that balance.
Sustaining that balance. That's so good, Kayla. You talking about that emotional intelligence. And I feel like it's even more of a pressure for us, as you said, because we're black women and we have those stereotypes that are attached to us. So it's like on one hand, you feel like you're being yourself, and then on another hand, you got a fight that you didn't even ask for, because of all the tags or the stereotypes that are placed upon us. That's so good. That's so good. So it keeps us always working on our emotional intelligence because we do want to not give in to those stereotypes, but we also want to stay true to us. So if me talking to you in a more sterner tone, it's just how I talk because my voice is deep naturally. And I don't want to feel like I have to change my voice and kind of cower down just because that makes you feel like I'm coming at you. And it's like, no, I really want to speak the way I normally, naturally speak in this deep voice. And I'm not trying to be intimidating. So that's really good because that's tough too. It's tough because I feel like that's tough also on your mental health at times. That's really tough because again, you go into a space where it feels like you have to fight sometimes. And it sometimes it feels like it's just not fair because why can I come in this space and you're okay with how my voice sounds? You're okay with if I have a question and just because the question I shouldn't be taken as aggressive because I'm asking a question. So it's a lot for us to think about and it's also a lot of things that, I those that put those stereotypes on us as they hear these conversations, something that they can work on. How can I disarm someone when I'm having a conversation with them? Oof. Okay. Candace or Free?
I was gonna say the same thing as Kayla, kind of finding that balance between, um, I guess what's like deemed acceptable and like how you present yourself, and also being true to yourself is difficult too. And I think just like the normal growing pains of like young adulthood, like navigating your career, like just starting a career or finishing school, starting school, like those kind of hurdles, and then adding on like being a Black woman and those kind of other barriers that come with that, I think is pretty difficult, being a young woman.
Mm-hmm. All right, Candace, what's the difficult or challenging part about being a woman for you?
I think a lot of times women are put in a box,
Mm-hmm.
and that sometimes that when we are reaching out of the box, that's what's like steps on people's toes. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we reach out of the box and try new things, that's when people are so like I guess not comfortable. I mean, not comfortable in what the woman is doing, but
Mm-hmm.
really the woman is walking in their purpose.
I love when you said not comfortable with the what the woman is doing because the woman is walking in her purpose. That's so good, Candace. It really is, and it's interesting how you even said it that way. It's another thing as a woman that we have to be aware of. That's what I feel like. It's having those conversations with other women that should be in community or should be supporting you in some way, even if they aren't in community, but being able to identify when this individual is actually hindering my walk in womanhood. I think that that's something that I have learned in my lifetime is I do have to be able to identify those women that may be in community with me, but they're still hindering and putting me in a box when it comes to womanhood. So it's like, yeah, it's like I need you to pull me higher. Like, let's not stay here, but pull me higher. And then as you challenge me and pull me higher, still respect me as a woman. Okay. But anyway, yeah, and just like how we were laughing a second ago, I feel like that's a bloodline thing as far as like all of us are like dressed and ready for an interview. We're ready. And we sometimes have to know that we can relax. And
Mhm.
we don't get to relax if we really don't pay attention to all those people we're putting in our circle and saying, hey, it's time, the season is over for this individual because I don't want to be in that box. And I see that they can only see me as far as this or as far as that. They can't see me here. And so I think that that's important. That was so good. So when we talk about these community of women, when we talk about not being with people that box us in or that being a challenging part of being a woman, do you all think that it's important for you to be able to either learn or observe from other women, or how important is that for you all on your journey into womanhood, being able to learn or observe from other women?
I would say it's really important to me. I feel like in each like phase of my journey, I can go back to like a mentor, somebody that I've learned from, and it's usually a woman. And like even just in like research or like at my job, like I always try to make it a point to find a mentor, somebody that can like take me under their wing so that I can learn from their experiences. And this can be like I've had older mentors, younger mentors, like fresh graduates. I've mentored women, so I think it's really important to always like find someone that you can teach and then find someone to teach you like in any space that you're at, whether it's like school or work or out in the open. I don't know. But yeah, I do really enjoy mentorship from other women.
That's good, Brianna. I like it because it shows the flexibility and the flexibility in your thinking and in your mindset. Because I have a friend and we talk a lot, and I tell her all the time, sometimes people just want to stay in the teacher role and they never want to be a student. And I feel like for me at this point in my life, there's always going to be I'm teaching somebody something, but I'm always putting myself in a position to learn something. Teacher student. And I think that that is important on your journey into womanhood, because as you ladies or women go higher and higher in your career, higher and higher in your spirituality, higher and higher in any and every aspect of your life, you're going to need to be, teaching and being the student, teaching and being the student. Because if you're the only person that tells people what to do, I don't know how far you can go, with that type of mindset. And so I think that that is important. As you say, I look for mentors and then I mentor others. And that's really key. That's really key. So, Kayla and Candace.
I agree. I couldn't have said that better myself, sooner. I agree.
Hmm. I love that. Again, this is something that I feel like I would love to break, that mindset of I have to compete with what the next woman said or overdo or over talk. And even with that agreement right there, it feels so good. It's like we don't have to compete. She said the thing that we all feel. She can be the voice of that. Right. And I feel like even that was so good because that's really where it is. It's exactly what Brianna said. And so you women are doing a great job on your journey into womanhood. Like I love it. I really do. So I'm gonna ask y'all two more questions before I let y'all go because I know you have busy schedules. But how do you manage friendships? And so I'm saying friendships, but it could be any other relationship. It could be a relationship with a significant other, it could be work relationships, because I feel like it's important to have a plan in place for managing relationships because you're in position to you're moving. You're not stagnant women. And that's the easiest way to be frustrated is when you don't have a plan in place for people that are not moving in your life and they don't mind you staying where you are. You understand what I'm saying? So how do you like manage all of your relationships or your friendships? What do you have a plan in place, or what do you really think about it at this point in your journey, or not much yet?
Hmm.
Because I didn't. I want to be honest. I did not have like a plan. I've learned on the journey. There have been situations in my life recently that I've never even imagined would have come up. Let's think about how would I handle a situation where this woman may not be in my life anymore in the way that she was in my life in a previous season. How am I going to deal with that grief? Because honestly, there's grief that comes with leaving people behind. Like, I don't want us to sound like we are just heartless, cold women on here, when we have to leave people behind that place us in a box. Because there's a season where you have to really grieve that. And I feel like the Bible talks to us about grief, that it does have a time period, an expiration period. But when you no longer have a relationship with someone on the journey that you had for whatever length of time, they're no longer going to be, you're not going to be in community with them anymore. For me, the plan is to have a grieving process for that. And I feel like because anything else whatever you don't grieve, it gets stored up in your body and you become anxious, you become hateful, you become frustrated, like all of the other things that we have to fight on top of the stereotypes, all the stereotypes that we have to fight. But when we don't have a plan for losing those women along the journey or those people along the journey that were in previous seasons. So I think for me, yeah, I guess that's where I'm being auntie at now. That's what I would say with that question. It's like you need to be prepared and have a way of grieving what you thought would be forever on a journey. Because it is not that the person or the people will, be out of your life forever, but they may be out of your life in the way that you were used to them being in your life. And so, and I would want us to maintain our softness, and the way we nurture things is to nurture ourselves in that moment and say, yeah, that hurt, that stinks. But you know how sometimes they tell us, well, they just can't go with you. They just can't. It's not that easy. You know what I mean? It's not that easy when you spent a lot of time with certain people and you thought that they were different, or and it's not even about them. They're just in a different space on their journey and you're at a different space on your journey. So yeah, I think that implementing a grieving process of whatever you lose, along the way would be helpful to maintain your mental health, to maintain your physical health, and you're maintain your spiritual health. because pretending like that didn't bother me, I think that that hurts or hinders your journey. Yeah. All right. My last question is, can y'all describe, because I know y'all are women that want to grow, y'all are women that do grow. So, like, how do you want to grow as a woman, or how do you want to grow as a person? Do you have any idea? Do you think about that?
I feel like I usually think about it more broadly, like, oh, I want to be a better person. But recently, I've been trying to, like, how we're talking about walking in your journey and your purpose, like, I've been trying to be more intentional with, like, observing what's going on around me. I feel like I'm always, like, waiting for the next step, like, oh, I'm graduating next week. So let's just get there instead of, like, you did all this to get there. So kind of just being more appreciative of the steps in the journey rather than looking to the destination, I feel like is something I've struggled with. Um, yeah, just being more grateful for the experiences that take me there rather than just like, okay, once I get here, then I'll get here and then I'll get here instead of, taking up everything in between. I think is something I want to work on.
Oh, that's good. Being present and
Yeah,
being
being more
celebrate,
present, that's the word.
being able to celebrate your accomplishments. And
Yeah.
I'm only speaking that because there are, like you said, I've been in that rat race of feeling like, okay, then what's the next thing? I done that. What's the next thing? I done that. And it's like, let's stop, breathe, and celebrate. Okay, you just pushed two babies through. Okay, you or brought them to the world. Okay, you just graduated from whatever, or you just did, and not even about graduation or pushing babies through. It's like, hey, you just made it through this
This
2
week.
mile walk,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, when I talk about establishing us in our womanhood, I want us to know that every step a part of this journey is important. Like, if the moment you fill that application out, not waiting for the response, if it was, they say you got in, it's the fact that I saw myself somewhere different and I filled that application out and said, hey, I can do that. I feel like we do, as Black women, let's start celebrating ourselves a little bit more. When we talk about the self-care, I feel like self-care is just celebrating the journey, being present. That's a part of self-care. Kayla and Candace.
I
So,
agree. I feel like I didn't have anything to add because I feel like I was the same as Bree, like kind of milestone after milestone versus like the journey in between. So now that she said that, I'm like self reflecting about it.
that self-reflection is good because, again, we are this is a conversation with just highly ambitious and successful women, and being able to just hear another woman say that helps us to say, man, maybe that will help me on my journey, and and help us to just be better women, because I mean, we're not just women that are ambitious about things out in our career or our professional life. We want to be ambitious about our mental health. We want to be ambitious about our spiritual health. All parts. The Bible tells us, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper. So that's your career. Be in good health. So that's that mental health, physical health, the healthiness of you, and that your soul would prosper. So when I think about my soul, it's like when I lay down at night and I close my eyes and say, who was Ann today? Like, was Ann in control, had self control? Was Ann operating in self doubt? Like, I want my soul to be healthy, where I'm like, every time I close my eyes at night, because I feel like that's the time, women. That is the time. When you turn those lights out at night, are you good with you? Do you feel like you were true to you? I feel like I'm even richer now. I'm even more, I've gained even more just having this conversation with all three of y'all. You make my life even more grand, even more rich, even more beautiful, just being in your presence. And so I want to even just say thank you for spending some time with me today. And I'm sure, you are definitely challenging me as a woman on my journey. It's not about me being older than you, but it's about me, what you all have said, the teacher student approach, the mentor mentee. And I really do learn from you all. And I definitely respect you ladies. And I've had a good time having a conversation with y'all. So hopefully y'all will come back on and join me and we'll have a conversation about something else.
It's good.
So we're signing out. Faith to Feet family. Peace.